So obviously solar power systems work fine when the sun is shining, and particularly in the middle of summer when we have long days of or long hours of sunlight. How do you configure a system to also cater for winter demand and winter sunlight hours?
A quality solar power installer will always look at the winter output levels of a solar system rather than the summer. You're always going to have excess power in the summer in a well-designed solar power system. As you can see behind us, the panels on the roof here are tilted at a very high angle. That maximises the energy that is captured in those during the winter time.
Okay.
There are several options other than extra panels if you want to. There's the opportunity to have a remote start generator running, or even a small little battery petrol generator. But with the current price of PV in Australia, it's actually quite easy to maximise the solar power system so it runs over efficient in summer and exactly meets your needs in the winter.
So if you generate excess capacity in summertime, where does that electricity go?
Well, unfortunately that electricity disappears into the ether of nowhere. There are opportunities to use it to pump water, for example. If you've got a header tank to a dam somewhere, that can be used as excess energy to run that. There's multitudes of customised solutions that can be used in summer to use that excess heat. Often we find that people with air conditioners really enjoy having a little bit of excess power because it means they can run their air conditioner during the day to keep their house a little bit cooler.
Yeah. So the is a 3 kilowatt system as a standalone level of system, is that enough to run a typical 3-bedroom house?
It really does depend on the client's energy use. If you're using a lot of power and you're insisting on using items like induction cooktops or electric ovens, that becomes a little bit awkward. But a 3 kilowatt system should cover a general 3-bedroom house that uses energy efficient appliances, energy efficient lighting, and uses solar hot water as well.
And what's the lead time in actually designing a system, getting it installed, and having everything connected and ready to operate?
Sure. The advantage of a solar power system is there's not the endless paperwork required to go through with the distributor, being PowerCore, City Power, or SP AusNet. Those connection agreements take a very long time. With us, it's simply contact us. We look through the design that you're hoping to do with your house, whether it's existing or old. We can sit down. 4 weeks is generally the time it takes to order equipment. It's not nice to have batteries sitting on a shelf for too long, so they generally come as a custom order as soon as they're ordered, so that can be about a 4-week lead time, and 2 weeks to do some paperwork to get the design correct, go through all the design a couple of times, and then we're ready to go. So generally about a 6-week period.
Okay. And the panels themselves should run quite efficiently for up to 25 years. What's the anticipated life of a battery these days for a standalone system?
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, the only good battery is a battery that's never discharged, which defeats the whole purpose of a battery. But generally, a well-cycled battery, which isn't used too often, will last for between 8 and 10 years.
Okay. So you do have to utilise this, or manage the system in terms of load and demand a little bit carefully, but is that done pretty much remotely or automatically programmed into the system?
It's very important that a system is designed to meet the end user's needs. If it's not, you can find that the battery bank is being discharged too often or too deeply. Now, in those situations where someone might not know how much power they're using, that's where a backup generator can be a really big advantage. It can automatically start the moment those solar batteries get too low. And if it gets to that stage, your inverter will automatically shut the system down if you're going to damage your batteries, but we hope that no one ever gets to that point.
And once the system is actually set up and connected and operating, is it pretty much leave and forget? You don't really have to do any day-to-day or weekly maintenance on any components in the system?
For a new system, that's pretty much exactly right. We do recommend people keep an eye on the inverter, make sure that all the lights are on green, have a look at the batteries to make sure there's no cracks, splits or spider webs accumulating on them, and have a look at the panels. Bird poo can be a pretty disastrous thing for a solar power system if too many birds.
But out here in central Victoria, where we do have dry, dusty environment, what about dust collecting on the panels?
Sure, dust can be an issue. Generally they're self-cleaning, And on a standalone power system with a very, very high level of tilt, the rain will push that off. Now, in summer, when we get sort of 8 to 10 weeks where you have very little rain, it may be an advisable thing to do to just wash them quickly with a bucket of water and a stiff broom.
Okay. And do you see the demand for standalone systems outside of metropolitan areas particularly as being, is it on the rise? Are people looking for this sort of solution more and more?
Yeah, definitely. People are waking up to the fact that living off the grid is a choice now, not a necessity. So you don't have to be connected to an electricity network to live comfortably and normally. Most electrical contractors now will happily work with an off-grid solar installer to design a house. They're not afraid of these things anymore, and that's a credit to the electrical industry that they've become better at understanding these things. And it also means that people, as they move away from working on normal sort of grid-related issues, means they pay less for their electricity bills. So people are just wanting to get rid of that whole cost that they don't have to pay anymore.
I mean, it's very easy to put solar panels on your roof and quite relatively inexpensive these days, but that means you're still paying all those service charges to have the poles and wires connected to your property, where a standalone system enables you to break that cycle.
Exactly, and particularly for a new build, when you're already being confronted with $40,000, $50,000, $80,000 for a power connection to your block, you can get a beautifully designed and installed standalone power system with a maintenance schedule with your local installer, organised for a fraction of that price.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Matt. I've been talking to Matt Wilson from the Envirogroup out here on a site in central Victoria where we're setting up a 3 kilowatt standalone system for a new construction, and appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.